probably a sad reflection of both my personality and my life, but I can clearly remember when I first browsed a web page. And I did it using the Mosaic browser, the forerunner of Netscape and the first popular multimedia browser. But it constantly amazes me when I look back and see it was released only in 1993, less than 20 years ago. And now we have this cloud, this digital universe of information freely available to us. And at a current estimate, it's around about 4,000 exabytes in size. Now, we don't use exabytes in everyday conversation, but a good analogy is that 4,000 exabytes is roughly equivalent to a stack of books from here to Pluto and back 80 times. And we only began to create that less than 20 years ago. And if you stop to think about it, it's even more astonishing that we have devices like these, which allow us to access this digital universe of information from anywhere and at any time. And with over 90% of the world's land surface now having a mobile phone signal, it is truly a global phenomenon. And when I was getting this ready, I was racking my brains to try and come up with some punchy image that would just bring home how much this has transformed our individual lives and our society. How has the web changed us? And I was really stuck until I came across this headline 2 weeks ago in the Irish Examiner. And that, for me, more than anything else, brought home just how much our society has changed in less than 20 years. But we're now about to embark on the next step with the internet and the web. And all the forecasts are that it will make the current internet and its impact on our society look trivial. We're about to connect the physical world to the internet. The planet and everything on it will become things on the Internet of Things. And not just web pages about the things, but there is real physical presences that we can observe and control. And when I say things, exactly what do I mean by things? I mean literally everything and anything. The things we encounter in our daily lives, the machines and appliances we use in our jobs and at home, the buildings we live in, the cars we travel in, even we ourselves will become part of this Internet of Things. Now, as a technologist, the first question I ask is, how will we do that? I don't care whether it's useful or not, I just want to know how we do it. And I want to take as an example this chair as a thing on the Internet of Things. I want to know from anywhere in the world, is this chair occupied and who is sitting in it? Now, to turn this chair into a smart chair, a smart object in the Internet of Things, I have to take a number of steps. First of all, I have to give it a unique identity so that I can go to this chair as opposed to all the other chairs in the world. And the current addressing protocol for the internet, IPv6, effectively gives us unique identities without practical limit. Anything we can conceive of on the planet or even off it that we want to put on the Internet of Things, we will be able to give it a unique identity. I need to give it the ability to communicate. Effectively, that's wireless communication these days. The third step is that I need to give it senses. I need to put sensors on it that will tell me whether something about the chair or it can tell me something about the environment around it. In this case, I'll put a pressure sensor on the seat so that I know if it's occupied. And I'll put a little RFID tag reader so that the tagged person who is sitting on it will be identified. I'll go on my smartphone anywhere in the world and I'll know who's sitting in my chair. And I'll do that. The final thing I can do, if I have a machine or an appliance or a vehicle, I may be able to reach out and control it from anywhere in the world. And I do that using very small embedded electronic circuits, and they're getting smaller and cheaper every day, that I can embed in it or on it. Now, the good question, what exactly will we do with it? What practical use will all this be? And it really seems to be only limited by our imagination. But I want to take 6 little scenarios here this evening, which I hope will begin to illustrate the potential impact on our lives and society. We'll be able to connect with things and learn about things in a completely new way with the Internet of Things. Now, only the true geeks in the audience will recognize what this is, and they're probably too ashamed to admit it. It's a tricorder from the original series of Star Trek. Captain Kirk and the lads could walk up to anything and anybody, point a tricorder, and they'd learn all about it. The physical, chemical composition of what was in front of them. Walk up to the person, their state of health. Were they hostile? Was it life as we knew it, Captain? With the Internet of Things, your smartphone will become a tricorder. Walk up to anything in learn mode. Packet of food in the supermarket. Its ingredients, their origins, dietary, allergy advice. Walk up to this piano. Who was playing it over recent years? What music was played on it? A completely new way of interacting with the world and learning about the things that you encounter. You walk up to a person. They've agreed to share some information. It might be something as simple as a business card. In a social context, you might learn things about their interests and their inclinations this evening. It'll make Facebook look like a minor event. The Internet of Things will just also allow us to reach out and monitor things, observe things. Let's say I have a heart problem. I can wear a wireless cardiac monitor. They're commonly used in hospitals these days. But the next generation will be web-linked. So my smartphone, which has a cardiac app, can monitor my heart rhythms and give me early warning. Or a remote hospital computer can monitor me 24/7 with powerful algorithms and predict maybe weeks or even months ahead that I'm heading for a problem. Or I can just let my relatives see that my heart is still beating. And with the number of people over 65 set to double, e-health and telemedicine is going to be one of the big areas for the Internet of Things. One of my favorites, reality search engines. Instead of using Google just to search this 4,000 exabytes of information, I can do really useful things, like ask Google, where are my keys? Because my keys are tagged, locatable objects on the Internet of Things. Where is my child? And as the father of a teenage daughter, I'll be first in the queue. I'm a food processing company expecting a delivery of shellfish. I can not only know where the food delivery is, but its entire storage and shipping history since the moment it came on board the trawler. If I know what things are doing, and I can know how things are feeling or their parameters and where they are, I can better manage things. Now, 51% of the world's population now live in cities. And we need a better way to manage our cities, which are quickly becoming many of them mega cities. If I know where vehicles are and where they want to go, if I know where energy is flowing and I can predict where it's energy usage, if I know where the citizens of my smart city are, what they're up to, what their health is, I can better manage traffic and maybe eliminate congestion. I can have better energy efficiency, make better use of renewables. I can look after the individual health, safety, and security of all my citizens. I can also reach out and control things. Now, you might have read about Electric Ireland rolling out a trial of smart meters in Ireland to a few thousand homes. These are meters which communicate between the appliances in your home and the grid. And an example that's commonly used is you put the wash in the washing machine, but you don't decide when it's turned on, the grid does. Now you can say to the grid, I'd like to use green electricity, please. Or you can say to the grid, I don't care what electricity I use as long as it's cheap. But the grid will decide based on balancing the load and on energy efficiency and on using renewables when your wash should actually go on. You sacrifice some of the control we're very, very fond of, but perhaps we can be persuaded to do that in personal interest of getting cheap electricity and in the interests of better society. The current internet is very, very important for gaming, and gaming is one of the big things that happens on the internet. And it will be even bigger on the Internet of Things. This is a screenshot from a company called Layar. You can get the software for your smartphone now. And you can superimpose, using the camera on the smartphone, the game environment on the real world around you. with the Internet of Things, it's not just a picture of what's around you that will be part of the game, but the objects and the people in that environment will become part of the game. It will transform the face of gaming as we know it, and already imaginations are running riot in the gaming industry. Where will we be in 20 years? It would be a very, very rash person who would make a concrete prediction. Nobody back in '93 would have predicted the impact of the web on our lives. But the one thing that always hits me is that by 2032, we could individually be in contact with up to 5,000 smart things in our everyday lives. Now that would be truly transformative. Could it bring about a utopia? The science fiction writer Ian M. Banks has written of a future society which he called the culture, where humans have delegated control of the planet and its resources to a network of artificial intelligence. And this network looks after the resources and allocates the resources to everybody according to their needs. Everybody's needs are met and strife is eliminated. I'm not saying the Internet of Things will produce that utopia, but perhaps elements of it are possible. If we can better manage and control traffic, maybe we can finally eliminate the carnage on our roads. If we can better manage energy, perhaps we can finally get to grips with the death wish that we seem to have for our planet's climate. If we can monitor and look after the health of individual citizens, perhaps we can reduce the chaos that seems to be inherent in our health systems, and perhaps the situation where your access to health depends on your income can be eliminated. Not a complete utopia, but perhaps elements of it are possible. Will it just be a technocracy, ruled by technology companies? You know what? I think we already live in a technocracy, whether we like it or not. Look at the influence that a company like Apple has. They bring out smartphones, they bring out pads, and they become the two fastest growing technology sectors in history. Apple recently became the most valuable company ever. And in an increasingly technological world under something like the Internet of Things, they will have enormous influence on society. Not malign by any means, but technocratic in nature and in fact. The social theorist Jeremy Bentham, in the late 18th century, conceived of an institution which he called a panopticon, where all the inmates could be observed 24 hours a day without ever knowing whether they were being observed or not. The Internet of Things is the ultimate global panopticon. Privacy as a concept under the Internet of Things may become meaningless, and it's one of the big societal concerns. Now, it has positive aspects. My heart monitor detects an arrhythmia. It tells me, sit down, I've called an ambulance. That's good. But while I'm sitting there, I get this message coming through. If you tried our latest wonder drug, you wouldn't be sitting there waiting for an ambulance, would you? When you know how individual people are using individual products, then individually focused advertising becomes possible. And it will transform the face of the marketing and advertising industry. It will also be a major intrusion. But, more ominously, it's been made a condition of your health insurance that your health insurer has to have access to your cardiac data. And while you're sitting there waiting quietly for the ambulance, this message comes through. And it's probably a sad reflection that this could actually be a reality. The Internet of Things has also been turned a potential weapon of mass disruption. We've seen the damage that viruses, trojans, and worms can do on the current Internet. If our energy systems, safety and security, transport and health systems are all part of one big worldwide web, the possibilities for terrorism and hacking are magnified almost beyond belief. Already researchers have hacked into pacemakers, insulin pumps, cars, smart meters. You'll have read about the worm that attacked the Iranian nuclear plant. Security under the Internet of Things has been called a shocking vulnerability, but it's also a major opportunity for the security software industry. I wonder, sometimes I work on this stuff, where have we reached the point of too much complexity? 5,000 things demanding my attention? I can barely deal with a wife, 2 children, a cat and a goldfish. But on the other hand, maybe it's just my age. I have a feeling that those kids in creche getting their iPad lessons will think nothing of it. It seems that our wonderfully plastic human brains can adapt to any accelerating technology and embrace it lovingly. Whatever we think about it, whatever way we think it'll turn out, get used to it because it's already happening. Every major global government and every major economic bloc is investing heavily in the Internet of Things. There are already hundreds of millions of things connected to the Internet. We're heading for hundreds of billions or possibly trillions, depending on who you believe. So just get used to it. And it will change our lives. That's the one certainty. And if that change is to be for the common good, I don't think we can leave it to technologists. You know, my wife, and she's a psychologist, and she ought to know, she says, I became an engineer because I can relate better to machines than to people. And on reflection, she's probably right. If this Internet of Things is to be for the common good, we need the input and the support of people in the human and social sciences. We need ordinary people to join with us to make it for the good of society and the good of individuals. There's a pyramid that's used in information science. At the bottom, you have data. And there will be a tremendous amount of data in the Internet of Things. It'll make the 4,000 exabytes look like a drop in the ocean. And it's a big opportunity for the data management industry. We can use data mining to extract information. We can use knowledge engineering to extract knowledge. But if we want to put the final cap on that pyramid, and that cap is wisdom, then I think we can only do that if we create this Internet of Things future by working together. Thank you very much.